Hello, I am super, super excited for you to be here, Jillian. I just want to share my gratitude, first of all, because you are my very first testimonial, and I know how grateful you were of this course container. And just because you wanted to show up and do this interview means so much to me. So I
Oh, my pleasure.
yeah, I appreciate you so much. So let's dive right into some of the questions around the Akashic Records Facilitation course. So the first thing I want to ask is if someone was interested in this course and they were feeling doubt, they were feeling, maybe they were feeling that they didn't know how to, or if they could tap into the records, or even if the records were really real, if it was, something that can I really offer divine guidance to those who are seeking it? Could you share maybe a little bit about what your experience is in this, or what kind of guidance you would give to someone who's interested in this course container?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I think just like having that question in your mind means that you can do it, right? Like it's kind of this divine guidance that says this is something that you can do. And going through the course is what gives you that validation that it is real. And then showing up for other people and just being able to witness the wisdom that comes through. It's such a rewarding experience and allows you one to trust yourself more and your intuition, and just for me allowed all of my different clairs to come into full form and to be able to um see things, hear things, know things a little bit more strongly, just because I was practicing, and then all the just rich tools that you gave to ground and center and just develop all those different clairs. So I think that if someone is drawn to it, to take the plunge, because it is such a rewarding experience. And it's probably one of the first programs that I participated in that gave me a lot of confidence in listening to my guides and listening to the wisdom that's coming through, and to really cultivate those gifts that I have. And I've done a lot of courses in the first one that really, like, it felt like it was real.
Wonderful. I love hearing that. Thank you so much. Yeah. So what was your experience before you stepped into the course container, and how you were after? I know you just shared a little bit about the shifts that have happened for you, but what would you feel were some of the things that you experienced, maybe the doubts or any of that that you were experiencing before the container?
Yeah, I think that first of all, I would have wisdom that would come through, or visions that would come through. And I was challenged to understand whether those came from ego, came from, where they came from in general. And I think the first thing I discovered was really being able to discern where things were coming from. And then from there, being able to discern, like, even from an extra dimensional level, like if this was my higher self talking, if this was like one of my guides, and like the messages and the wisdom came through, they started to, those entities started to be able to identify themselves to me. And the people who would show up to answer different questions, it was really cool to be able to see, my guides show up to give wisdom to the people I was talking to, and then their guides being able to show up and to just, you can start to feel different energy depending on who you're working with. And then also, like when I'm reading for myself, like it's always about nature. And so reading for other people, it's funny how it comes in different symbols. And it's like just seeing how different that the information flows through makes you a believer. I went a little bit off track there, but I think I answered the question.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And how did you feel about the activations? Let's start off with Akashic Records One activation. I know it's a very different thing for people, and they're like, what are activations? What do they do? And I would love to hear what your experience was from first the Akashic Records One activation.
Yeah. So the first activation, it felt like a portal was opened. So it was just like a more clear pathway. Before doing the activation, it's more like I really had to center and ground myself and like do a lot of work to access the Akashic records. But then after the first activation, it was just like I could turn it on. And
Perfect. Just a
yeah,
stream.
it was just like, okay, like it's like I had the map to the door and it was just like, okay, just open the door, as opposed to being like, I don't know where to go. It was just like this pathway. It's like, yep, that's where you go. And then, my higher consciousness knew where to go.
I love that. That's incredible, powerful. And what about Akashic Records 2 activation?
Was this the one that you did and I didn't know about it, or
No, you
no?
shared something around stepping into the fourth dimension. It was like you were solidified into the fourth dimension, or like the higher dimension, and you.
Yeah, it's hard for me to pinpoint that one because it was such a like so much was happening, like so much more stuff was coming in and in and in. So I think it's just more of what I said. It was just like increasing things come through more easily and more fluidly. And then being able to like just having different amounts of wisdom to like pursue that growth and understanding.
Wonderful. I love that. And how would you say, I know you talked a little bit about the practices, but how would you say the practices were with, embodiment, or helping you to also curate more of that Akashic records in your field?
Yeah, it was such a holistic encapsulation of like all the different modalities that you can try to see what's the best fit in developing a practice. And then, feel which things really work for you and which things, may not feel right for you. And then just to build a really custom and self-led way of existing in the world and being able to like just live from your higher self on a day-to-day experience. And I really like that about it because like other courses that I had done, it seemed a little prescriptive. It's like you do this, you do this, and you do this, and you do this. But like you as a coach and a guide was this like, okay, go really hard on all of these things. So you like give them a big shot and like see if you like it or not, like eat your vegetables. And then like once you like give it a good shot, decide if you want to continue using them or not.
Yeah.
And it was such a great compliment to the course because it's not just learning how to read the Akash, it's how to be a more spiritual being and then like really integrate this into all aspects of your life.
I love that. Yeah, it really is around you, like, finding what works for you. And there's all these different ways of things that can really work for you. There's no prescription for one person. And that's, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's just this one way. It's never just one way. We're all so unique and different. And so it's like, let's find out what works for you and then give you all these things, these ideas and these practices. And then it's really about you using your discernment and really consciously choosing from a place of this works, this feels right, this is good for me. And so that's how this course was really created. And I love that you were really grateful for that, because it really allows for people to step into the Akashic records field better, because what works for someone might not work for another person. So it's like, here's all the ways that can work, and let's try to fine tune which is your way. Let's try to figure out, what really works best for you. And
Yeah, and then you can become really intentional about which tools that you access in order to achieve different goals.
yeah, I love that. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So, and how would you describe me as a facilitator in the field?
It's such a joy to work with you, Steph, just because you bring this energy of playfulness and experimentation to the work. Like in other courses that I've done, you feel a little bit like insecure because it's like, wow, there's this person who has so much wisdom, and it makes it hard to fail maybe. But because of like your energy, there's a lot of space that you hold just to like try it out, which allowed me to take more risks and stick with it, and it made it fun. It didn't feel like work.
I love that. Yeah, it's really like my course was really created around, reminding people that they have the power within them. So it's like, you have the power within you, whether it's blocks from, past life traumas or density that's been created through not accessing the realm in many lifetimes, but you have that power deep within you. So it's like, can we add some, like guidance, but also some playness, so we can just along with the activations in the practice, so we can really open you up to the realm, and it's not so like forceful, because I really do believe that force changes your direction. It makes you shrink. It doesn't allow you to open and expand into what is truly aligned for you. And so yeah, so I'm really grateful that you shared.
Exactly. Like it makes it so that you can get out of your own way.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, so how do you feel now about stepping into the world as an Akashic Records facilitator? What has some of the clients, or even, the people that you were practicing with, what was some of the feedback that you were getting from them?
Like it's just so magical for people to first just believe that there's something like this out there, to access wisdom and to witness that. I think is the first thing that's just really amazing, because as this information comes through, you know, they're really interested in that information, but it also unlocks this connective connection to their own higher self. Be like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And so like that's really powerful, because I think that like part of the reason that we all do this work is just trying to evolve all of humanity. And so that's really a pleasure to witness. And then second is like the healings and the energy that comes through, like when the individual is receiving some sort of healing, you're receiving it too on some level. And it's like how we're all interconnected. Like I just look back on who I was before and who I am now, and it's just like I have so much more confidence in myself, and I feel much more powerful and grounded in my own queendom, and you know and just trusting in my own path. Like I don't have this sense of confusion, because like I know that everyone is being divinely guided. And so if their way is different than mine and maybe they rub up against each other, that's okay. So I think that yeah, the stuff that has taught me about myself is really beautiful.
I'm really grateful that you brought that up, because it's so true. Like when I first started to access the Akashic Records, I had like such a mask on. I was a very different, sheltered, scared person. And when like after, I started to not only step into the field, but as a facilitator, because not only are you receiving that powerful energy, but your client is too. You're both tapping into that field, and it's healing for both of you, and it's activating for both of you. So every time the facilitator steps in the field, they're getting the same activation and healing. And it's like that energy is so potent. It's source. You can't get better than source. And it really is a game changer. It's such a shifter. And the amount that I've changed has been incredible. And I'm so, so grateful that you brought that up too, because yeah, it really is a beautiful place to work in as facilitator, and also to receive as a client. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm really grateful. I want to hear more about your own Akashic Records readings as well. I know that you were saying you were tapping into a lot of nature. Is there anything around, having that divine guidance for yourself, like how that helps you in your day-to-day world?
Yeah, I do. I read my own Akashic Records every night before I go to bed now. And just like whatever is on my heart and what on my mind, I just like ask for guidance or whatever needs to come through. And that it one helps me go to sleep, which is surprising because I can kind of let go of things. And it's hard to put into words. It just it's like meeting yourself, right? And seeing yourself and your true self. So like doing that every night before I go to bed, it's just like re-anchoring me into who I am, what my journey is, and helping to uncover things that I never knew were there.
I love that so much. It's like you said, like meeting your true self. It's like knowing your true self, being with your true self. Because whenever I channel the Akashic Records, it's like my highest divine self channels through me. And it's just like this essence and this power. And it's like the more I channel the Akashic Records, the more closer I really anchor in that highest divine self, that divine version of me. So I love that you do it every night. That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. So that's perfect. And what are your top 3 takeaways from this entire container? Is there anything else you would like to mention
Oh, that's a tough one. Just three. Hey.
You can mention as many as you like.
Like it was just so easy. I think that's the first thing, is that it was just really easy. Like it didn't feel like any effort to be able to start accessing this world that you, like, growing up, you're just like, oh, these are only special people can do this. And so like that was surprising. It's like, oh well, like, okay, cool, I can do this too. And everyone can do it. And I think the second thing is kind of what we touched on before about like creating your own daily rituals, and like having such a rich toolkit of practices and mindsets in order to move forward, and just to rely upon through your day-to-day life and journeys and struggles and trials and tribulations. And last is just all of the infinite wisdom that comes through the Akash. And like I want everyone to be able to access all that wisdom, because yeah, it's really remarkable.
I love that you shared all that. And you're so correct. It's not just an Akashic Records course. It's so much more than that. It's like, yes, there's divine wisdom that we can channel and we can access that and step into the field, but it's also like a bit of self-mastery. It's also like, let's create a program where we upkeep our frequency and our energetic field so we can really be those divine channels. So I love that you brought that up. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, and from that, like my career has improved, my relationships have improved, my just outlook on the world has improved, anxiety has decreased, and just like to be able to do all of those things, that like it's really valuable. Like when I went into it, it's just like, I'm going to learn this skill, but like you say, it's like this self-mastery, and that's worth more than the price of admission.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jill. Is there anything you would like to share to close this container? Is there anything else that you would like to share that you haven't touched on that you feel really called to?
Just, my deepest thanks to you, Steph, just for putting this together, and just how much rich content that you invest into the program, and how you show up as a facilitator and guide and coach. Yeah, you're a gem. You're
Ah,
shining. And, I really appreciate you.
I thank you so much, Jill. I appreciate you. That's so wonderful. You were such a gem to work with as well. You just such a joy, and I'm really grateful that you showed up and did the work, because that really is the whole part in it, right? You have to show up, you have to do the work, and that's what you did. So I'm really grateful for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, we'll close it here. Much love.
Much love. Bye.